Welcome to the F1 driver comparison video for the end of March 2024. So far we've had 3 races, and the only real comparison in F1 is against your teammate. So let's see who's a better teammate in each of the 10 F1 teams. Getting started straight away with the Red Bull boys. No surprises here whatsoever. Max Verstappen absolutely slaying his teammate Sergio Perez in every single metric aside from one, that being point finishes, with Max Verstappen's only non-point finish last weekend in Australia when he had that technical issue, so not really his fault. Perez has been actually really solid this year, getting 2 second places and a 5th, but that means he's just equal on podiums with Verstappen. I think one of the most important metrics you can have against your teammate is that average qualifying margin, and you can see that Verstappen qualifies on average 0.35 seconds ahead of his teammate across the races. That's a big gap. I think that's the 3rd or 4th biggest gap between teammates in F1 this season. Perez needs to really step up his qualifying. We know he has what it takes in races, but he's always struggling in qualifying. He needs to pick it up a little bit. We can see that points-wise, even though Verstappen's DNF'd in a race, he still has more points just than his teammate Perez, with 5 points in favour of the Dutchman. And also Verstappen has those 2 wins over his teammate. Then moving on to McLaren, one of the closest driver matchups we have this season, with 2 races and 2 qualifyings going towards the British Norris. Although both drivers have scored points in every race this season, keep it up boys. Points wise, 1 point separates them, with Piastri getting the nod over his teammate. Really impressive stuff. Qualifying though goes the other way, with Norris having an almost 0.1 second difference. That's almost nothing in an F1 car. They're both qualifying really well, and it seems like they're getting the most out of that car. Norris's podium in the starting races puts him a little bit ahead of his teammate though, but I think both of these drivers are all looking to have 3 or 4 podiums by the end of the season each. Then on to Mercedes, and with Hamilton leaving, I think a lot of people thought he'll have that one last year where he tears up his thing, shows he's the boss of this place. But that hasn't really happened. And Russell has outqualified him in all 3 races, outscored him in the race in all 3 races, and also has 18 points to Hamilton's 8. Russell's shown that he's the team leader now. Point finishes, all square. Wins and podiums also, 0-all. But the average qualifying is where it matters most. And Russell qualifies 0.2 seconds faster on average than his teammate. That's quite a significant gap, and Hamilton will be looking to bring that down as we head into the Asian races this season. Now moving on to the yellow and red of the Ferrari boys, Leclerc and Sainz. This is a really interesting one. For qualifying in the races, I'm not counting that Jeddah Grand Prix because Sainz was ill, but I am counting points. In the 2 races Sainz has competed, he's beaten his teammate, and one of them, he's outqualified his teammate. That was Australia, where he dominated. Both of them have 2 point finishes each, given that I'm not including Saudi Arabia for this section, but I am including Saudi Arabia for the point section, which means that Leclerc slightly edges out his Spanish teammate. But if Sainz had headed that race, no doubt he'll be above Leclerc. The average qualifying though goes in favour of Leclerc, and we all knew this was coming. Leclerc is one of the best qualifiers out there. He just can't seem to get together on a race weekend. But Sainz can, which is why he has a win, and Leclerc doesn't. But both of these drivers have 2 podiums each, so very close battle. I think this will be one of the most interesting battles throughout the season. These 2 Ferrari boys who are going to be split up at the end of the season. Now moving on to the Aston Martin guys. I think this is one of the most surprising results so far in the teammate comparison, with Alonso and Stroll being actually a lot closer than I would have thought. Everyone knows Alonso's a great driver, and everyone knows Stroll's been having a hard time at the moment. But neither driver have any podiums or wins, so we can move that aside. But Alonso doesn't have quite the gap that I thought he would in either qualifying, race results, points, finishes. He's actually quite close. Alonso still edges out in every metric, especially qualifying, being 0.33 seconds ahead most of the time. But we all know Alonso's great, so well done Stroll. Not actually that bad. Then I think everyone else is expecting this. Tsunoda versus Ricciardo. Tsunoda's wiping the floor with him. Ricciardo's having a rough time of the season, and he qualified so far behind him in Australia. It was an onslaught. Race results, 2-3 in Tsunoda's favour. That's only due to team orders where Ricciardo got put ahead of Tsunoda. So it should actually be 3-0. It is 3-0 though in qualifying and 1-0 in points finishes, with Tsunoda getting that 7th place finish in Australia, giving him 6 points to Ricciardo's 0. Average qualifying margin, the biggest in the field by 0.65. That's huge. That's almost like a second. That's a massive difference. And obviously that Australia result kind of skews it, but still, Ricciardo needs to step it up a lot, or he'll be getting the kick for Liam Lawson. Then the Sauber guys, and I think both of these guys are struggling in that car, which obviously sucks. Races results go towards Bottas, quality results go towards Bottas. The rest of them are all zeros, apart from average qualifying margin, which Bottas takes by 0.4 seconds, which shows that he's actually way faster in that car than Zhou. I think that's unexpected, because in my opinion, before I kind of did these statistics, I thought Zhou was having a better year, but now, obviously he's not. So, personally I'd like to see both of these guys go next season, because they're not showing it. It could be the car, it could be them. I guess we'll find out next season. Then we have two mightily impressive Haas drivers in Hülkenberg and Magnussen, with Hülkenberg kind of edging out most of the results, but Magnussen still being there and providing for the team. Race results go 2-1 in Hülkenberg's favour, with quality results going the other way, with Magnussen out-qualifying Hülkenberg twice. Hülkenberg has those 2-point finishes. One of them he owes to Magnussen's defensive performance in Jeddah, so maybe it's like actually 1.5 each, because that point in Jeddah was earned by Magnussen's drive. Total points also the 9th and the 10th in the last 2 weekends for Hülkenberg, puts him 3 points up, with Magnussen's 10th place in Australia giving him 1 point. Neither driver have any wins so far or podiums, as expected, so equal there. Then we have the Williams guys, with Sargent and Albon. No points for any of these guys, so a lot of these things are equal because they're all zeros. But we can see in the race results and quality results that Albon has been outperforming his teammate with quite a big gap of 0.5 seconds, which is second biggest. So Albon's smashing his teammate again, as expected. Now the Alpine guys have been having a rough time in that car. It is maybe one of the worst cars I've seen. It could be comparable to that Haas car, especially as there's two good drivers in Gasly and Ocon in those cars compared to Schumacher and Mazepin in that Haas car. So we know the actual car sucks instead of the drivers. But Ocon has been proving that he can do better in a worse car than Gasly can. So Ocon has those 2 race performances over his teammate and 3 qualifying performances over his teammate, which leads to a 0.24 second difference average qualifying. That's a reasonable amount, and I think Gasly will be looking to kind of claw that back in his favour, because it's looking grim for both drivers, but I don't see them getting the boot anytime soon, because it's definitely the car's fault. Thank you for watching. Let me know who you think will be the best driver at each team come the end of the season. Peace.